See them getting a drink of water. They're checking out the food. And some of them are going over to the lamp, to the heat. Hey guys. Welcome back to STA Farms. That clip you just saw, that was 3 weeks ago. We have had our meat birds for 3 weeks now. Things have been super busy around here. We haven't had time to show you our brooder or setup. We haven't had time to show you progress of the birds, how well they're growing and everything. So let's go take a peek in on them and check them out. And here they are. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but they are starting to feather out. They've got quite a bit of size on them, and they're doing exceptionally well. All right, guys, so we're going to kind of show you what we've got in here, how we got our brooder set up, and what we do daily to help these birds grow as they are.
Okay, so as you guys just saw, our Brandy and Casey picked up the meat birds. They've got them put in our brooder here. Now, this is what we use as a brooder. This is a 300-gallon Rubbermaid water tank. We don't use it to water the cattle anymore, and it works perfect for these meat chickens. We ordered 30 Cornish cross meat birds. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know if Brandy has, but I've not been able to really count them. I know one was not alive whenever they got the package, but all the rest of them were fine. And normally they send more than what you order. But anyways, there's around 30 meat birds in here. And we prefer the Cornish cross because we like the meat. We like the big breasted chickens because that's what, when it comes to chicken, that's what we eat the most of is the chicken breast. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about, and it's probably the most important whenever you first get your chicks, is heat. So as you see here, we have our heat lamp set up here, and this is very, very important, especially if you order your chickens while the temperatures are cooler or colder. So a chick needs around 95-degree temperatures to be comfortable and to basically not freeze. And what you'll see when you first put them in here is they'll all huddle together underneath the heat lamp. And as the temperature warms up, they'll get further and further away from the heat lamp. And then during the day, sometimes they don't even need the heat. They'll be over in the shade, won't be as huddled up. But they huddle up to maintain their body heat, but they can't maintain it high enough without the heat lamp. So this is super, super important. So you want to make sure you got a good heat lamp. And we always keep a spare bulb on hand because for whatever reason, it seems like one bulb will last us one season of growing chickens. Sometimes not even that. So we try to keep a spare bulb because if you come out here of the evenings and you notice the bulb's blown and you don't have a spare, you might be in trouble, especially if it's supposed to get cold. Okay, then the next thing is feed. Now, as you can see here, we have this long trough, and then we have this round feeder. So we like the long trough there whenever they're chicks because it gives each one of them an opportunity to be able to get to feed. We do the round feeder. We put that in once they get a little bit bigger, and then we keep them both filled up because with 30 chicks, this round feeder is just not big enough for all of them to gather around. Now, when they're this young, we try to feed them and keep feed out for them as much as they'll eat. We try not to let them run out of feed. So we want them to grow. We want them to get as much as they want to eat. And that just seems like they do better like that. Now that will change once we get them out on pasture, but we'll talk more about that at a later time. So we feed a 16% chicken feed to them. And they seem to do well. This batch, actually, I don't think we even started them out on Chick Starter. I think we forgot to get it. Well, we had the 16% chicken feed, so that's just what we started feeding them. So then the next thing is water. Now, we wasn't aware how much water meat chickens actually drank. They drank a lot of water. So it's very important that you have plenty of water for them. So as you can see here, we have water there. That is, I believe that's a 3.5 gallon, a 3 or 3.5 gallon water. And we had to fill that up about every day now. So they drank a lot of water. Now the problem that we have, Because well, obviously we have wood chips down here. You want a good bed of wood chips, so it kind of stays more clean and dry for them. But they'll scratch the chips in there, as you can see, and that does soak up some of the water. So every evening, you can see how dirty it is. It gets like that, but it's usually about like that around this time of day. We'll clean that out, and then we'll pour good fresh water in there. And we repeat that every day. But with the meat chickens, they drink a lot of water. Very important that you keep them plenty of water out. So that's why we use the bigger water. If these were laying hens, they wouldn't drink near as much water. But with the meat chickens, they drink a whole lot. And it's very important that they have plenty of access to it. So when we first get them, we will either put in, if we have them, we'll put in electrolytes into the water, or Brandy started using apple cider vinegar. And really, we've had good luck with both. So we'll probably just continue to do the apple cider vinegar. But after about the first week, we don't do that anymore because they're healthy enough to maintain their hydration and everything. It's mostly Brandy. She gets home before I do. She's usually the one that takes, her and Casey usually are the ones that takes care of the feeding and watering. And how much would you say that you feed these?
I give them a, what is the size of one of those scoops? 3/4?
3 quarts.
3 quarts. So they get 3 quarts of the feed in the long tray, and then another scoop in the round tray.
And that's enough. So that's enough to last them until about the same time next evening, right?
So that's enough to last. We feed them every day. Feed them water every day. Yeah,
so she feeds them, she waters them every day, checks on them. If we see one, which thankfully, knock on wood, I don't have anything, I guess, right here. But thankfully, knock on wood, none of these that I have seen is, other than the one that came that was dead.
Yeah, we had one when we got them 3 weeks ago. There was one that didn't survive. So,
and that's from the shipping.
And that was from the shipping. Mm-hmm. So other than that, we haven't had any losses. Thankfully.
In the past, we've had some losses, which is common. But if we see one that just not acting right, we'll take it out. We'll try to give it maybe more electrolytes or apple cider vinegar, or try to keep it by itself so it can eat better, or whatever the case is.
All right, guys. So just kind of recapping how much they've grown. When we first got them, they were regular chick size. They were just fuzzy, downy fuzzy balls.
Really yellow.
Yeah, a real yellowish color.
And actually, I think Brandy would probably agree. These were probably more yellow than what they normally are.
Yeah, these were more yellow than what we've had before.
Yeah. I'm not sure why, because we ordered the same from the same hatchery and the same type, but these just seem more yellow.
They did. So they came as yellow fuzzy fur balls, you can say. About a week into it, you could start seeing the little white wing tips, and now you can tell where their wings have really feathered out. They do have the fuzzy, downy feathers on the underneath. But we will probably try to put these out on pasture in another 2 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So for the meat chickens, or any chicken really that for that matter, we ordered these. We try to get them, would you say early spring?
Early spring. We plant it during my spring break.
Yeah. We try to get them when it's not extremely, extremely cold. Like February, we made the mistake one year of getting some laying hens. Was that last year? And so, yeah, that was a mistake. We didn't do that again this year. Although I think I seen the chickens out even earlier this year.
Yeah, I know. They were super early this year. But last year we got them. It was probably, I don't know, week and a half, second weekend of February. And we got the itch, and we was like, oh, we've got heat lamps. We've got a brooder plate. We'll just get some chicks. It did not work out. It turned off too cold, and we ended up losing
we lost
several.
Because what happened, what reason I mentioned before, how we have an extra heat lamp on hand, our heat lamp, we lost electricity. Heat lamp went out. We had a backup source, brooder plate, but it didn't work. And of course, if the electricity's off, it don't work anyways. But yeah, so.
But that's why we decide to get our meat bird steering usually about the first week of April.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will move these out to pasture, and we have what we call a mobile chicken coop that we pull along the yard. We've got videos from last year of us building that. If you're interested, go to our channel and check that out. But we will get them put out on pasture in that mobile coop once the temperatures stay fairly warm. Now, well, the nighttime temperature is at least 50 degrees probably.
Yes.
Yeah, but if they're fully feathered out, obviously we can move them out before that, but these won't be before then. They'll still have some of the fuzziness on top, like where they're top of their heads and on the back. So they'll still have some of that on them. And what we've done in the past when we've needed to move them out, we've actually hooked a heat lamp up into the mobile coop.
Yeah.
And used it like that because they got big enough to where we need to get them out of this. Because one thing that you want to make sure of, you want to make sure that they have plenty of space. And that's one reason why this 300-gallon water tank works so well, because these meat chickens, they grow pretty quick, but it's still, on average, wouldn't you say, we have them in here about 4 weeks.
Roughly 4 weeks, and then
Yeah.
on pasture 4 weeks.
So, and they grow really quick, but you want to have plenty of room. So if this was a regular size tank, like a 150-gallon tank, half the size, there's no way we'd be able to have them in here for 4 weeks. And when you run into that, that's when you need to start moving them out, and that's when you might have to move the heat lamp out, which we've done in the past.
We did last year.
Yeah, but then you've got electric cords strung across your yard. You have to keep it close to the house and all that. So we just try to order them, get our meat chickens delivered early enough in the year that it's not that they'll be done before it gets really, really hot, but late enough that we normally don't have the extreme cold temperatures.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'd say in about another week to 2 weeks, these will be going out on pasture in the yard.
Yep.
Okay, guys, so that is an overview of our meat chickens for the first 3 weeks that we've had them. That's our brooder setup. That's getting them in. That's what we feed them, how we take care of them, and everything. And so if you're thinking about doing meat chickens, we both highly recommend
Yes,
it.
definitely. Since we have started doing our own meat birds, store-bought chicken, there's no comparison. We won't even buy it now. Going out to eat and getting chicken, it just does not have the same taste, the flavor, even the texture. I mean, raising your own meat birds for chicken is the best choice that we've made.
Yeah, it truly is. And if you've never done it, you need to try it, or at least go to a farmer's market and buy some fresh raised meat. We raise ours on pasture. We don't raise them in cages and just feed them and feed them and feed them. And I think that's what makes all the difference.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. There's absolutely no comparison in the meat that we'll get from these chickens compared to the meat that you buy at the store. In fact, that's why we got 30 this time.
Yes, 30. And we're even considering doing another batch later into the year too.
Yeah, because we have I really enjoy cooking. Brandy enjoys baking. I enjoy cooking, smoking meats and just cooking. And we have come up with some really, really good chicken recipes, just different things. And we've been eating a whole lot more chicken over since we had our last batch process. We processed our last batch. So we have actually ran out of chicken breast.
So we're out of breast completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have some
Leg quarters.
leg quarters.
Okay.
And maybe some thighs. But we're out of breast. So that's why last year we did 25.
Yeah.
We had 20 processed, I think.
I think 20 processed.
Yeah. More than likely, I'd say if we can get them, we're more than likely going to do another batch this fall.
Yeah.
Or early fall. So,
Right.
because we want to try to avoid the really heat of the summer. It's easier on us and it's easier on the chickens. I shouldn't say easier on the chickens. It's easier on us whenever it's that hot, because when these chickens get almost full grown, they'll be drinking more than 5 gallons of water a day. And we just honestly, when it's really hot, they drink even more. So we're probably, if we can get them, delivered in around 1st of September.
1st September.
Yeah. And that haven't been able to process about first part of November or so, end of October, first part of November. So, but yeah, so we're super excited to have meat chickens back on the homestead. And if you're not subscribed, be sure you subscribe and follow along on this journey. We'll show you exactly how we feed them. We don't do them like most people do. We got our own way, and it really works out for us. We don't We don't pour the feed to them. We don't, do other things. We kind of figured out our own way that works for us, and that might be why the meat on them's so good.
Might be.
Yeah.
Might be.
So, well, guys, listen, we really appreciate y'all watching. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, and we hope to catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.